Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Yeah, as you can see, I am not going camping. The weather did come in. It has not passed over quickly. It is blowing a gale out there and it is pissing down. So there will be no sitting around the campfire for the next couple of days, drinking beers and singing Kumbaya. It'll be all about the football. And I think we're all suffering a little bit this morning, aren't we? Not a good game week. Not a good game week. The saying goes, it's a good game week to have a bad game week. Still doesn't feel great though, does it? And in terms of the FPL Don't Panic challenge, I have stared into the abyss of page 2. I sat there for a day, about 53rd or 54th, and I've clawed my way out. Thanks to this morning's game, Mukiele and Lacroix, at least both getting DEFCON. I clawed my way out to 50th, so hanging on in there. Need a big turnaround, but I did have a look around there down in page 2, and that's where actually some of the decent scores this week are, and indeed the the Bishop Brennan Cup for the uninitiated. The Bishop Brennan Cup winner is coming from page 2 this week. That's where the better scores are. They're coming for us, guys. They're coming for us. There's some good scores in there. Our winner, and I'll do a Bishop Brennan Cup probably within the next 24 hours before the next deadline, or maybe along with the next deadline to lock in. Come in with a proverbial wet sail. 3 green arrows in a row. I don't know if you're listening. I'm not going to give the name away. 3 green arrows in a row. Have your rank, and knocking on the door of the top 1 million. And if you keep that going, you'll be going to be right up there very, very soon. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll talk about that more when I do the Bishop Brennan Cup. Let's talk about the game week that's gone very briefly, because that is the best way to talk about this game week. Fuck this shit. Jesus, you put a team out and it looks great, and then it's just fucking awful, isn't it? My hand was forced. Obviously, I've been moving to this 4-5-1 over the last 2 or 3 game weeks, used all my AFCON transfers, rolled 2 to put the final pieces of the jigsaw together for my powerhouse midfield, and then the indestructible Bruno, because I've done my transfers early, gets injured, so I'm forced to take a hit, and brought in Cunha, which hasn't paid off, but got Wolves to come, so fingers crossed. And obviously I was forced into the position of not having any Liverpool against Wolves, and I know that Ekitike and Wirtz both brought in points. Could have been so much worse, couldn't it? Wirtz hit the post. Not Wirtz, Ekitike hit the post as well as getting his assist. And Wirtz looks about the best player in that team at the moment, to be honest with you. So feel as though, although it wasn't great, as though I did dodge a little bit of a bullet there. Finished with some 43 points. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's done. I had Lacroix, as I say, and Mukiele this morning. Nothing significant. Added another 7 points to the score. Could have been, this is the fine margins, I could have actually been on a little bit of a green arrow, actually. Lacroix, he had one header if he just placed it a bit better across to Mateta, who had a very, very easy nod in, and then he missed, and this is coming from someone that I know it was the East Cheshire Sunday League Division 27F, a little bit higher than that, but I played defence, and I used to go up and get my head on much more difficult chances than that, and get the odd goal, as I was a central defender, left back or central defender. He should have put that one in, and it would have been a grey, but possibly a small green. But that is the game. What's, ifs, buts, and maybes, and the reality is, I have dropped down to 1.2 million, just inside 1.2 million, and it's just, I talk about fucking, I just can't seem to catch a break. And I know I've made some pretty stupid decisions and taken some stupid punts, but I've also had some fucking shit luck as well. Stuff that you couldn't even write. It is what it is. Right, time to steady this ship and get this show back on the road as I get into this 4-5-1, and I am committed to it now. I'm still convinced it's the way to go. Everyone's had a bad game week. It's just happened that my first week gone with the 4-5-1, and the powerhouse midfield hasn't paid off. The only returns in that midfield, as I say, been Rice and Saka, you know, which fundamentally are the two most reliable players I've got at the moment. Let's look at the next game week, and we'll just talk through this lineup. I think we'll do it by the spreadsheet. Actually, I'm going to pop this one down because where I want to go with this actually. The midfield's the midfield. Let me just talk through that first. Actually, the midfield and Haaland up front. That's just locked in now, barring any injuries, etc., or all the things that can happen. That is now locked in with Cunha, grand, a couple of good fixtures. We'll have a look maybe at him in a few game weeks' time when there's a little bit of a United fixture turn. But Cunha does act as quite a good placeholder for Bruno. It doesn't leave me too far off finding the money to get back to Bruno at the appropriate time. And currently, I do have 1.5 million in the bank. So happy enough with that for the time being, and we know what Cunha is capable of. And is he going to step up now? You know, sort of, you know, be the big man, you know, like he was at Wolves, and carry this United team. He does get his shots off, so happy enough with this. With that, very very tempted to put the captain's armband on him. Very tempted. It's just, as I say, one more. Just having a little flashback to one of my nightmare pieces of bad luck was the time that when I did bring Cunha in. I think a few of us got caught with this actually. I can't remember what fixture it was, and a lot of us I think put the captain's armband on Cunha, and he went off after 1.5 minutes for his injury that kept him out for a wee while. But I'm just not convinced by Haaland as a captain this week. I said he would blank this game week just gone. I should have changed the captain's armband to Saka, but I wasn't brave enough to do it. But is it a time to bet against Cunha? Sorry, bet against Haaland? Is that a good decision? I don't know. It's going to be a deadline one. Might be a toss of a coin. I just think Sunderland can defend. They love defending. They do. They like defending. I don't see a Haaland haul there. He might get something. And is Cunha more likely to get a brace or a goal, an assist, or a cup? I don't know. I've got to think about that one. If I was 100% confident of his minutes, I probably would go Palmer. I think Palmer is going to be okay. I'm less concerned than I was about him getting a rest. Maresca did say a week or so ago that he doesn't feel he's capable of playing 2 games in a week, and now he's turned around now and gone back on that and said, yeah, he feels actually that Palmer probably can play a couple of games in a week. And he's just trying to fuck with my head. Anyway, don't think I can risk the armband on him. I do think he'll start, and I think it's a fabulous fixture for him. I mean, I brought Palmer in early a few game weeks back. I have had 2 returns out of him, nothing earth-shattering. But this is the sort of game. This is the sort of game against that Bournemouth defence where they are poor. They are really poor, particularly away from home. There'll be 3 or 4 goals in this for Chelsea. This could be the 2 or 3 goal Palmer haul. The reason I brought him in early, because there's always that potential. But it was when I did have the Bruno, Palmer, Foden, Saka, I can't remember who else, yeah, etc. Powerhouse midfield. Was, especially with what I plan to do in defence, and that's going to be probably the main point of this video, the defensive restructure. That's going to be very, very hard for other FPL managers to get through. It becomes a differential as we move into these templates, and it's hard to get the rank rises. It becomes almost a differential in his own right that will be hard for other FPL managers to get to. It's going to be a lot easier now, obviously, for people to get to Palmer with the Bruno injury, but then people are going to want to bring Bruno back eventually. And I've sort of got a bit of a plan around that, a loose plan around that. So yeah, Palmer, I think this could be the week where he does get the haul for me, if he does get a decent game time, you know, 70 or 80 minutes. And then the Palmer stampede will start, except it will mean people restructuring their teams to try to get there. We'll see. Could be wrong. I probably am wrong. I've been wrong frequently this year, haven't I? Many times. Oh, let's think back on the Harvey Elliott one. Oh, so wrong. The Rodri one. So wrong. The Palmer one is like the 3rd time lucky. Third time lucky. Foden is the Foden sell-off stampede going to start if he blanks again. That was another one of the hard luck stories. Obviously, I brought Foden in when there was some decent fixtures, and I thought, numbers were looking good for expected goals, but it just wasn't happening. The hauls didn't happen. I thought, fuck this for a game of turkeys. sold him, and then 2 game weeks later, bang, bang, missed his first 2 couple of hauls and then got him in. So I had a couple of decent returns out of him, but now he's blanking 2 in a row. I won't be selling him, but there will be a sell-off if he blanks this next game week. There absolutely will be a sell-off. And I think I'm just going to hang on in there and stop the points dodging and just stick with this midfield through hell and high water, and don't keep missing and dodging the points, because there are holes in that midfield, and just hope they come in the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Saka Rice, this Rice duo, they're just reliable. They're just reliable, as I always say. Saka's just your 6-7 point man. I know it's 10 million plus. It's a lot of money for just 6-7 points, but it's a reliable 6-7 point average. And Rice, I'm expecting big things from him. The thing with Rice is going to get 4 or 5 points even in the difficult fixtures, and he does. And I think they could come when there's the little fixture turn coming. I think we could start to see some of those 14, 15, 16s out of him. We'll see. And Haaland, can't go against him. I don't trust that he's going to go well this week. But am I brave enough to take the captain's armband off him? Probably not. Probably not. And then I've got my, Verbruggen, Dubravka, whatever you want to call it. With his with the West Ham fixture and that little rotation, the Dubravka Verbruggen rotation has been going well for me. I've caught both the 11 pointers, and that's kind of what saved me the last 2 game weeks from complete fucking disaster. That's the team. Now, the midfield and the forward line is going to be what it's going to be. That is pretty much what's going out the next 4 or 5 game weeks. I've done the restructure. I've gone with this 4-5-1. I've got to stick with the plan now. Next bit is the defensive restructure, and that is going to be the tricky one. I know what I'd like. We'll just go through sort of the best defensive fixture ticker. So this is the defense as opposed to what would be the best attacks to focus on. Bear with me, sorry guys. I'm going to have to make that bigger so I can actually see it. I'm going to take myself out of the picture for a second. I can actually read this. I've got a very, very small screen here. Let's get that up there. Right, that's per usual. You can see we've got Arsenal, top of the fixture ticker. They've not been great though, have they? They have not been great. As you saw in my team going out though, I do have Timber flagged. Is he going to start? My original plan had been to roll this week, so that I had the 2 transfers next week to start this defensive restructure. I've always had a plan that Gabriel is coming back as soon as he's fit, so he did get minutes this last game week, and Timber's flagged. It seems obvious, doesn't it? Timber out, Gabriel in. That may be the sensible thing to do, but I do have concerns. The word on the street, and as I said, there's been no definitive news on this, so please do not take my word from this. I just want to listen to other content providers and what they're saying, their opinions, or what they may have heard. Feeling does seem to be that it was sort of, a precautionary resting, that he did have a little knock, and that he should be fine for this next game week. So in that respect, because we can't be 100% sure, can we, that Gabriel will start? I think he will. But is it the game to bring him back in? Especially if Timber's okay. And Aston Villa's a red fixture, blue fixture at best, even for Arsenal at home. Villa are going very, very well. Fancy they're probably going to get a goal. Wouldn't surprise me if they get a result. But it's probably more to the point around the risk factor of does Gabriel start? Will his minutes be managed? Is Timber going to be alright? That's dilemma number 1. I think The other problem, of course, is that is Timber's price going to fall and is Gabriel's price going to go up? Now, I've got plenty of money in the bank, but I'm cutting it fine, very fine, for some of the other things that I do want to do as I move towards my ideal back four. But Gabriel is most certainly a part of my ideal back four, and we'll run through it in the spreadsheet in a second. Liverpool, yeah, not going there. Anyone? How many of you are selling off Virgil this week? How frustrating that must be with the Liverpool defence. That'll be driving me absolutely potty. Can't keep clean sheet at home to Wolves. Will they keep one at home to Leeds? Probably, maybe, they should do, but will they? I wouldn't be betting any money on it. City, now currently I've got O'Reilly. I'll run through this in the spreadsheet in a second, but I want Gavardio. He's just such a better asset. So, Gabriel, Gavardio, absolutely two players that I would like. Chalobah. Now Chelsea are a little hit and miss at the moment. They're very, very inconsistent. But I tell you what, Chalobah, particularly when there is a green fixture run, he hauls. He's just such a target man. He'll get attack. You know, he'll get a bit of defcon. He'll obviously hopefully keep some clean sheets, and he'll get some attacking returns. He has been very, very consistent, particularly where there are green fixtures. So, ideal backline. Gavardio, Gabriel, Chalobah. Newcastle, they do have some good fixtures coming up, and I do have Chow at the moment. I will probably move Chow out, because where I really do want to go is Everton, and I would like Tarkowski. My ideal backline, Gabriel, Gavardio, Tarkowski, Chalobah. That would be some back four, full of defcon, full of attacking threat, and a decent number of clean sheets. Problem is, and that would leave me with Mukiele on the bench. The problem is I cannot get there unless I did all those transfers like today, now, before there's any price changes. I've pretty much got exactly the right money to go there. Can't do it, can't take that risk, because something will happen. And my hits, they just backfire. I can't do FPLD unit. He loves a good hit. He did a -12 this week. Didn't go very well for him. FPL nightmare. Has anyone heard the FPL nightmare rants after he does a bunch of hits and it goes badly wrong? And then he's like doing this. He's very entertaining. And I do love the fact that these guys play it with passion, fun, and whatever. But hits, we've seen it. They just don't work for me. They always find a way to backfire, even when they seem the most sensible things to do in the world. Something always happens. So what are my options? Let's have a look at the Desi spreadsheet. Let's see if we can solve this puzzle together, or if I have a flash of enlightenment. Right. So currently, what I've got there is obviously the team as it lines up for this game week, which doesn't look too bad. That should say prediction for game week 19 there. Obviously game week 18 means the numbers fell off the bloody cliff. 16 and 17 for this sort of starting 11, you know, not too bad. 64-72, bearing in mind these numbers are without captaincy. And you know, 56 and 47 is game week 14 and 15, but you'll see there was a lot of non-playing players there where I've just put in a when it's in white, it's generally because the players haven't actually played or had limited minutes or whatever. So I've just put in sort of, you know, a baseline 2, except in Saka's case there, because he played 57 minutes, I think it was, and got 6. So I've left the 6 in there, but just kept it white, just to indicate that he played less than 60 minutes. Generally in the team, Haaland, again, I've had quite a few subscribers coming on. I've noticed in the last few weeks. Don't know what I've been doing right. Well, I've been plummeting. My rank has been plummeting, but thank you. Lovely to have new subscribers on board. So for the uninitiated that haven't heard it before, I like to try and aim for an average of 4 out of my keepers, 5 out of my defence, which is ambitious, but I think with DEFCON and everything, we should be trying to get close to that this year. Now, my defence has fallen right off the cliff in recent weeks. I don't think the structure is good at all. And 6 ideally out of midfielders, so there's a few there are iffy, but some of them have only played a couple of game weeks for me, and 7 out of strikers. And clearly there's not too many strikers hitting that 7 average this time round. And depending on when I brought them in, because I won't always bring them in while they're hitting those averages, I might bring them in fixture related, but I like to give any player 5 game weeks, and if they are not doing it, they're out. That has proven challenging between injuries and all the other things this season, and a bunch of other things which I won't even bother going into now. Go back and look at the old videos. However, in terms of the midfield, yeah, I mean, Haaland's clearly going fine. Rice, absolutely fine, you know, the 5.4, so he's getting pretty close. Saka's fine. Foden's obviously fine at the moment. He's going to start to fall off a cliff soon, though, if he doesn't bring in some numbers soon. Palmer is only just coming back. He's just had a couple of game weeks for me from 16, yeah, I think it was when I brought him in. So I've had a couple of returns out of him, and we've obviously got the Bournemouth fixture, City away, Fulham, Brentford, Crystal. There's nice sea of fixtures there with that Chelsea fixture turn where Palmer could start to make hay. Cunha, 5.2, and he's obviously got the nominal 2 there on game week 14 because he didn't play. So not looking too bad with 3 returns in 4 effectively, and we've got that Wolves fixture. So not too bad. It is the defence now that needs that restructure. And you'll see in the watch list I've got Gabriel, Tarkowski, Chalobah and Gavardio, all with some, mostly with tasty averages, but certainly the right fixtures going forward for the defensive restructure. But as I said, the problem I have is concerns around Gabriel, who is averaging 9. I think it might have actually been over 9, but I've just put 9 in there. My memory says it was over 9, so I've just put 9 in there before his injury. Not an ideal entry point though with Villa, even though it is at home. But Arsenal can keep that clean sheet against anyone. So, you know, does that defence. If Timber is back and it's got Gabriel and Saliba back in that central, central defensive roles. Is Calafiori out? Don't know on that one. But maybe, you know, maybe they can keep that clean sheet. I'm pretty sure in a fixture like that Gabriel will get his DEFCON, and you know, with Saka and Rice with their set pieces, maybe it's a game where they'll get on the end of something. Tempting. Tarkowski, and you'll see I've got Keane in there because I'm not going to take the hits, which mean if I do want to go with the Everton defence, probably for 20, I think is where I'd take the entry point on that. I'd probably have to go Keane, but how long is Keane going to be around for? With the Branthwaite. Sorry, the other problem with Tarkowski, of course, as well as it pops into my head, is it'd be just my bloody luck if I did do Tarkowski this week that he gets his yellow, because he's on 4 yellows, and then I lose him, for Brentford Wolves. I don't think I would do the Tarkowski or Keane move this week. I'm really tempted to do the Gabriel one and just take that punt and move Timber out and bring Gabriel in. But what about Chalobah? Now, I know his averages are just down there at 4.8, so he's only just off the 5 average that I'd like to see. He's had a couple of blue fixtures in there, and it's like I said, it's in those green fixtures. And just look back across his season where he gets that 10-pluser. And Bournemouth is a very, 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 very green fixture. Very green. Their defence, I think I mentioned it in yesterday's video. First half of the season, when I expected them to be awful, I wouldn't touch the Bournemouth defence. beginning of the season because they'd lost so many players, Kirkes, etc., etc. I thought they're going to be a shocker, and they surprised everyone. Second in the table after 9 game weeks. But these last 9 game weeks, we're getting the Bournemouth that we anticipated at the beginning of the season. We really are. They're really poor. Chelsea could absolutely rip them a new one. Really do like the idea of bringing Chalobah in. It's probably my favourite at the moment, even though I know I'm going to lose a bit of value probably on Timber transfers out and even potential Gabriel transfers in. I just don't know if I want to risk it, and I think Timber's going to be okay, and if he isn't, then I guess I've got Mukiele coming off the bench, which is not ideal against City, but as I said, I kind of like that Sunderland, you know, if they can keep it down to 1 or 2, you know, at least he might pick up, well, he's definitely going to pick up Defcon in that game, isn't he? So I'm inclined to take the risk with Timber and look at Chalobah. Know that I might have to take a chance with Keane. Oh, but then it could be, I'm suspect it's going to be around game weeks 22, 23. But a lot can happen in that time, can't it? You know, maybe, you know, there could be an injury to a Saka or a Rice or something. So I might have to look at another midfield option then anyways, which would free up the money to bring in Tarkowski, should I want to. Because this game is ever shifting sands, isn't it? And the other option, of course, there is Gavardiol. And I do like Gavardiol a lot. I've persevered with O'Reilly. Now, I brought him in for attack. I had nothing in attack. And if he's just picking up no Defcon and, you know, a couple of clean sheets like he's got there in 5, his averages are still going to be, you know, with the blanks and the 1-pointers and the bookings and all the shite, you know, the averages is not great. I mean, it's going to be sod law if I moved him out. They'll suddenly start banging in some attacking returns, whether it's assists or whatever. But I'm just not really feeling him at the moment. I really haven't. He has flashes where oh yeah, he's looking really good, but nothing ever happens. Sod's law is I'll move him out for Gavardiol. But Gavardiol, honestly, I think Gavardiol gets a little bit of Defcon. He'll pick up the clean sheets, obviously, but he is quite clearly the target man on those set pieces. He has been looking really good, and yeah, O'Reilly will become Gavardiol, but not this week. My favourite there is Chalobah. The question then becomes, who do I take out? And you know who I probably will take out? Oh, then I've got him for City away, haven't I? Oh, it's always it's a bloody jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? But yeah, if I did bring Chalobah in, have him for that Bournemouth fixture. Which I really like. I could bench him for City away, because then I would probably bring in the Keane or the Tarkowski for the Brentford at home fixture. Yeah. Could take Lacroix out. I just Crystal Palace. I know it's just Fulham at home. It seems like a daft transfer out, doesn't it? But I just think Palace they're very leggy. They're going to have another short turnaround. I can just see them conceding again. The Quaz averages are down at 3. Could move in Chalobah. I could even move in Gavardiol for that one as well, couldn't I? But that would be taking out O'Reilly. Feels a little sideways-ish for that fixture. Now, I think the one I'd favour, if I do a transfer, I'm still not convinced I won't roll. If I do a transfer, I think I would take Lacroix out and bring in Chalobah for that nice, tasty Bournemouth at home fixture. We'll worry about City away. You know, as I said, I'll bring in maybe a Gavardiol or whatever. Could potentially bench Chalobah. Who has Mukiele got? Ooh, Tottenham away. Not bad. I don't know. I just fancy Chalobah for that Bournemouth fixture. Creates a little dilemma in game week 20, but depending on who I bring in, who becomes the next moving it out. But ultimately, I think because of the pricing, by about game week 21-22, I will have a back line that will consist of Gabriel, Chalobah, Keane and Gavardiol, and I like the sound of that. And there are decent enough fixtures there. It's not all seas of green on the fixtures, but you can't have that. But as a 4-5-1, I really like that. And then I'll deal with the Keane issue as we see Branthwaite coming back and what threat on minutes that is, because he has been out for a wee while. Can't see him being involved in 19 or 20. Could see him on the bench 21, 22. I think I could potentially get to 22, 23, and then we'll probably start to see Branthwaite, I suspect, eating into Keane's minutes. I could be really wrong on that, but I think that is the path I'm going to take. What do you think? I think it's the plan. I think we'll probably do that transfer fairly quickly. I'll just have to swallow potential price drops, price rise on the Timber Gabriel. But if I am going Keane, I've got a little bit of a buffer there to play with. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be back with the Bishop Running Cup in probably before the deadline. I might hold off. I'll have a look and see where price rises, price drops are going. But I think I've talked myself into Chalobah, for better, for worse, possibly both. Possibly both. Take care, have fun, play your own game, don't panic. See you before the deadline with the Bishop Running Cup. See you soon. Bye bye.